Good evening, everybody. Can we stand for the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please, to open the meeting? Janine, Camille? All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anybody who'd like to make a public comment right now? Agenda items only. Thank you. Okay, start off with the consent items. Acceptance of reports. Be resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of Superintendent, approves and acknowledges reviewing the following reports. Now, consent is EA1 through C4. Does anybody have, can I have a motion? Heather, you can. Does anybody have a question or would like to call any of the items within that realm of EA1 through C4?
It's pretty standard, Mr. Miller.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 6-0. Okay. Okay, moving along. We're down to Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Pupil Personnel, Dr. Boyd.
All right, I'm up. We had a great opening. Even with our little disruption, everybody did very well with the transition. We had a lot of new students coming in this year, so it was a great opening for all of them. Our services always begin day one. Our related services will begin Monday, September 18th. So our related service providers are working out schedules right now with teachers to try to limit our disruptions as much as possible and working around the students' schedules. We are still getting transfers each day. So we're getting some new students coming each day. So tracking down some of their paperwork and working with the other school districts to get their records transferred over to us so we can get them set up as quickly as possible. Our ESSA funded grants were submitted at the end of August. Again, those are ones that help predominantly fund a lot of our AIS staff and some of our PD as well. This year for our elementary curriculum nights, in the past we had a separate night usually around the end of September for our AIS providers down there, where they would have a specific night to talk to parents. In speaking with some of the parents, what we found was it was pretty close back to back with our curriculum nights, another night for them to get out, which is difficult. So this year we had reading and math providers that are going to have last night and the next couple of nights at each of the nights, so the parents can meet with them and meet with the teachers all on the same night. And then throughout the year, we're going to be looking to provide some support at nights in other ways. So we're just trying to break that up for the parents to make it a little bit easier for them. And lastly, our homeschool, we are working with all those parents and getting some of those reports up and going. We still have a few that we are trying to track down to get all the plans and everything in place to get started for the year. But other than that, we are in great shape and a great start to the school year.
Speak of the homeschool, how many students do we support through that program?
So we were at about 60 last year. Right now, depending on some of where these families are, we have a couple of moving. We are about the low to mid 40s. So we've had
more of a normalized.
More normalized. Yeah, we had the spike when COVID happened, and then a few of the parents stayed on for a few years. We did have a few transition back this year, and then a few finish, a few move. So.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Boyd? Mr. Zimmer?
Good evening, everyone. First, I'm happy to report our student representative for the Board of Education this year. Her name is Lily Scrow. Lily will be present at the next board meeting, and as I understand it, she has already been in touch with building principals to get a sense of what's going on. And so we'll all meet her the next board meeting, and I think that's when Lisa, she gets sworn in then. And
That is correct.
excellent, nice, very good. So we look forward to Lily being here, joining us. Last week's superintendent's conference days were quite busy. Faculty and staff were busy attending mandated trainings, grade level and department meetings, team meetings, and kindergarten orientation. Additionally, all coaches and club advisors attended a meeting reviewing district procedures about fundraising and financial record keeping. Moreover, newly hired teachers got time to meet with their assigned mentors, which is fantastic. Speaking of our new teachers, something new this year, on the district's Facebook page, there were posts containing brief biographical sketches for each of our new teachers to help introduce them to the community. If you missed the posts, I encourage you to scroll back on Facebook to read about our 12 newest teachers and their philosophy on education and all about their varied interests and hobbies. It was kind of cool to see. That was when we had the orientation. It was a 2-day orientation. At the end of the first day, I gave them the homework assignment was to go home and write a brief autobiographical sketch about yourself and to bring it in the next day ready to go. They were not thrilled because it's kind of difficult to do if you've ever had to do it, but they all did it and it all came out well. So I'm happy to share that. Lindsay, Idell, and I will be attending a conference at the New York State Education Department in Albany next Wednesday. The Office of Early Learning's Navigating Pre-K Day will be on September 20th, and it should provide us with pertinent information to help us move forward with the UPK process as we enter the first year of the program. Speaking of pre-K, Dr. Boyd and I have scheduled appointments to visit our pre-K classrooms in our 3 preschools over the next 2 weeks. We look forward to observing our pre-K students in their respective programs. And finally, on behalf of the district, I'd like to thank the Highland Rotary Club. Last Thursday, members of the Rotary Club stopped by the district office to deliver lots of school supplies that included paper, notebooks, backpacks, highlighters, calculators, and pencil cases, among other things. The supplies were distributed to our schools to be given to our students, and we're quite appreciative of the Rotary Club's generosity. So thank you.
You know, this Rotary is just, what don't they do? They're all over the place. And do we send them a letter thanking them for these supplies
Yes.
that they can read? Thank you.
And that's all I have this evening.
Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Zimmer?
I was just gonna say I like the Facebook post with the new teachers. So.
Yeah, that was a nice addition this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Smooth opening, guys. Really, thank you very much. I mean, it's just.
So that's what I was going to say. We had a fairly smooth opening. I'm being repetitive here,
Those are good things.
except for day 2. So this area suffered some major power outages on Thursday night into Friday of last week, leaving 2 of our buildings completely in the dark. The bus garage did have some power. The elementary school was brought back on early Friday morning. But there were power lines down across the community. So we went on the side of safety and we used one of our emergency days. Now, thankfully this year we were able to squeeze some additional emergency days into our calendar. So we started with 7, so now we're at 6. But that's what they're there for, and it was a pretty hot day here in the building without, any lights or AC in the areas that AC works. So it did knock some of our computers out for a little while. We were able to get them up in different areas. So Lisa met me at the elementary school because she was out without power as we were trying to get the agenda together. So she met me at the elementary school. We let her in. She used the Wi-Fi there. I was able to do some work down there as well. So we made do, and
Food services was okay.
and food services was okay. Yeah, that was all
Those freezers.
pretty
Well, I'm
solid.
going to be
So-
asking the new business how these generators performed, and if they performed at expectation,
Right.
I'll be bringing that up.
So
And just a little bit of context from the Central Hudson side, Certainly during that time, I was in contact with the engineers to see if we could get us back up. In Highland, 2 of our nursing homes were down. So those are obviously first on the
Priorities.
list. Next on the list is schools. But unfortunately, the resources just weren't.
And there were so many out-of-state
There were
trucks around. It was,
300,
we
300
got
line
better.
crews from out of state.
So we started with a 2-hour delay. For those that are not aware, I think everyone in this room knows that, and that we held off until about 7:20, 7:30 when I found out from through Pete Miller in Central Hudson that the estimated time to get both schools back on was close to 4:30. So, and I think they hit that mark right around that time. So, and then for those that don't know, there are other things that we need power for other than just lights and toilets require power. You can only flush just so many times without having the electric to kick in. So, and we obviously couldn't do food service and cook that day if we didn't have power. So it was a tough decision, but I think we did the right thing. Dr. Boyd mentioned that our open houses and curriculum nights, they started last night, actually with kindergarten and 3rd grade. Tomorrow night, we host 1st grade and 4th grade parents, and Thursday night is 2nd grade and 5th grade. Also next Wednesday, we have the middle school meet the teacher evening, and Thursday night, the high school has open house. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you for making that right decision and making it fairly quickly the other morning. That was a no-brainer. You did the right thing. And
Appreciate
I
that.
didn't hear any complaints.
I think if we were at our last snow day, we might have had some complaints, but
And we can cross that bridge when we come to it, because we've
That's
discussed the flexibility that one of the strange benefits of COVID was the remote flexibility that we have as an option, should it come
Right.
to that. Hopefully it won't come to that.
let's hope not.
Okay, Board of Education, new business.
So I got a couple items under new business, if I may. So the generators, we've got some generators, and there's some services hooked up to them. I'm just thinking that we had an opportunity to maybe see how they performed. Did those services that we have hooking up to them work? Like our freezers, I believe, they're
Yes.
hooked up to them. So I would just want support services to kind of review that, and that's great. If it's all yeses, that's wonderful. Here in the high school, so let's talk about climate in our buildings. Because, we say it's going to be hot, but we know it's hotter longer. We know it's hotter longer in the fall. We know it's hotter longer in the spring. But what about our fresh air intakes? Like if I go in the C wing, or probably this wing, some of the ones that are not affected by new construction, is there air moving through there? I don't feel air moving through there. Been in and out of the buildings a couple times the past few weeks. And today I was in and just wanted to check. There was a huge difference when you're in this hallway, in the hallway around the library media center, and that C wing. You walk into that C wing, it was dank, you could feel, and I'm just like, is air even moving? Do we have even fresh air just moving? And I'm tall enough to just put my hands in front of those grates walking down, I don't feel anything. So where are we? And so that's not a question for tonight, but it is an agenda item for support services to start reviewing these systems. And where are we with climate control? Because we're not in control of our climate, and I just think that it's not the best learning environment. We're in control here, I hear it, right? But we're not in control in some key areas in probably all of our buildings. I mean, I'm willing to take a walk up to that top floor of the middle school. I'm sure it's hot, but I don't know. I don't know what those fresh air exchanges are doing. Thank you.
I think most of the buildings will have fairly new, if not brand new unit vents, which do draw in outside air.
It's 80 degrees outside, it's only so much it's going to do. We can't. It's
I'm
not going to
just
reduce
saying.
the humidity.
Plus there are other air intakes, as Mike,
But are they working right? Are they, like, there's nothing going on in those air takes. The grills are dirty. I'm not going to get into it, but
No, there could be an exhaust fan, no exhaust fan on the roof that's not functioning. I mean, it could be something as simple as looking into that. It's not something that would pop up on the system until you're actually looking for the movement, you know?
I don't think any of those are wired up to any control system.
Right, you're not on it.
That would give an alarm, but there is periodic maintenance and yearly maintenance that has to be done. And
So has that
I
been
guess they
done?
have to be technical.
Well, the funny thing
Let's
about
get a
those-
report to the board on the fresh air systems of Highland High School, Highland Middle School, and Highland Elementary School, just to see where we're at.
Yeah.
Because those systems are supposed to take fresh air in regardless of temperature and move air. I don't feel air movement. I feel nothing.
Yeah, it's all good.
And it might be the time, be like, Mike, they're only on from 9 to 10, or they're only on, maybe, but let's,
Maybe they're not open up enough either.
yeah, I don't know.
There are adjustments that can be made, but they should be monitored on occasion to see that they're working. And so,
I'll have Pete write something up.
Yeah, let's
I think it would be, but instead of us,
assess.
you
Yeah.
know, guessing at what it might be, let's
Oh.
have Pete answer that.
Thank you.
any other
Just one item
business?
I had is, I know in the beginning of the school year, things are busy and scheduling things are crazy. I think if we could just consider, not holding things on 9/11, just as a consideration to the community. I know there's a ceremony down at the firehouse, just if that's even possible. I know maybe it's not based on the scheduling that we need to do, but it is a special day for many.
Yeah, honestly, it's becoming harder and harder. With the Jewish holiday that's in there. There's a Jewish holiday this week. You couldn't do a game on a Friday night, so that has to be on a Thursday night. So there were lots of considerations. We've been trying the last number of years to stay away from 9/11, so that people didn't have to make a choice between that ceremony and things here in district. We got boxed in with the number of days that were evenings that were available. But it's on the radar of administrators, and we talk about it every year.
Thank you.
It's the date that jumps out at you when you hear, when so many other dates, conflicts exist because the numbers don't imprint, Thank you. Anything else? New business? Old business? I guess there was going to be a survey of board retreat dates. I'm not really sure exactly what the intent was there.
I think Al was looking for some dates that folks were available. So, if you haven't gotten those to him yet, you can get them to me and I can funnel them through. I can put something in my Friday update and try to collect what people's availabilities are. Again, September's tough. There's a lot of evenings that are already accounted for.
I know he asked about that at our last meeting.
Yep.
And who got back to him and whether he was zeroing in on a particular date or grouping.
I'll put
of
something
dates.
in the Friday update, and if people could just respond to me, that would be great, and I'll get that to Al.
Okay.
And are we with that? Because I thought I was going to bring some dates to us. At this, what you said last time, bring dates to us for us to talk about.
Well, he might have that already. I don't know that.
Do we have
Yeah.
another September date?
Yes,
When we meet again?
September
26th?
26th.
So that's the 4th.
Just that he might be on top of this and, have something for us.
Well, we normally meet the 1st and 3rd. So if we're meeting the 26th because we skipped a week because of the school opening, the Tuesday the 3rd, is that a planned meeting time too? Because that would be the
October?
next week.
No.
So
No.
October 3rd.
Then it goes to, I think it's the day after Columbus Day.
So I just want to throw out October 3rd and October 7th, which is a Saturday. I'd be willing to do like a 9 to 12 in the morning on a Saturday for retreat type work.
October 3rd, I'll be away at a conference.
October 3rd.
That's a Tuesday? Okay.
It's the state conference.
Well, if we don't start, right, let's
I'll be
get
at
some
that
dates
also.
set. Okay. Well, that was, right. You're staying over at that conference? I mean, when I said October 3rd, it's a Tuesday. I was thinking the evening.
We'll be
So in
getting
place
back.
of a meeting, we could meet, but I don't know your schedule, so. I throw out the 17th too. That's in between board meeting dates on a Tuesday night. I'll miss scouts that night, but. There we go, there's 3. And Saturdays are open for me.
Does anybody have a problem with Saturday as a potential
I'd rather not.
I do.
event?
No,
There's no way I can make Saturday.
Okay.
It depends on Saturday.
Busy
Sorry,
time of
triple
year.
booked.
Say Friday.
That's it, I mean, that depends on the Saturday
Packaging is 2 soccer games Saturday.
for me. So like the first Saturday, like Mike said, the 7th, and the 28th.
what dates did you put down, Heather?
17th would, the Tuesdays work for me, Saturdays unfortunately do.
Fair enough.
Are we done with board retreat conversation? Anything else? Okay. The DREC committee discussions. Do we have any other conversation to have regarding that? Or any other comments about the presentation that was given to us?
I think just the conversation was about making sure it fits within the policy structure that we've been using. So I think that was what we were waiting for the policy committee to get back.
Okay.
That was some of the feedback from last meeting.
It was a well done presentation on the part of leadership of that committee, and you know, a lot of things we had to think about. And
Since policy committee will meet to take a look at that, do you get any Erie 1 policy updates? Do you get the Erie 1 policy updates? Was there anything that they brought over the summer that we might have to update or review? So you don't have to answer that now, but let's look at that, because if we're meeting,
Right.
that's fine. We could do the direct policy. But if there's anything else that might need our attention, that's legal, that they're giving you, let's see if we'll create an agenda item and we'll set a date.
Okay.
If not now, at or before the next board meeting.
thank you.
And it won't be a Saturday.
Any other questions regarding that presentation to the board?
Well done. So it's up to you.
Again, yeah, it was a well put together presentation. Miscellaneous, any other concerns with board members?
Our goals, I think we should review our goals and either adopt or bring changes to those goals for the next year. That helps guide administrative initiatives. It helps drive APPR type stuff. So I wanted to do it at this meeting, but you need an opportunity to review the board goals and bring any edits. And then we should be able to adopt right on the fly. This way they're updated for the 23-24 school year. And I'm gonna think about,
Does everyone have those, or do they need?
they should be on the board
They're on the
website.
They are on the website. But I could snip them out and I could stick them in my updates so that they're in one place, if that would be helpful.
That'd be fine.
Either way, so homework assignment will be to read those board goals, bring any changes, and then let's see, using that direct committee presentation while it's still fresh in our minds.
We're giving ourselves a homework assignment. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else?
I just think next meeting we'll have the directors present.
Correct. And the principals.
So just would like to hear just about with the busing and also the Chromebook distribution, how that's going, getting us back into getting us into the hands of students.
And I'm gonna make a request that every report that's uploaded be PDF.
That would be huge for me.
Okay.
Agreed.
because it opens up Word, it takes time, this one's in PDF, that one's in Word. Let's standardize that
Yeah.
reports to the board come in PDF.
Great.
It's easier to read on our
Yeah.
devices. Everybody all right with that?
I could do that in my Friday updates too. Most of them are PDF, but some of them.
that are not.
I make exceptions to the superintendent, but you'll develop your own standard. I have no problem. It's just all those other
Yeah,
reports.
no, I'll do my
when it's
best to
coming
try
and
to.
going. Because sometimes I'm looking to just open and print on the fly because
They can
we're
save
reading
as,
others.
I mean, it's.
It's so easy now to.
We
It's-
can
it's
run
not
a
like it used
staff
to be,
development,
yeah.
save as PDF from Word.
Yeah.
It's a one-sheeter, I think.
We actually have an export button.
Yeah, I found a
export
new
into
way to do
PDF.
it. From an open Word document, you can just hit send as PDF and it'll open up an email and
Yeah, most of the email carriers will do that too.
yeah.
Our building administrators are doing a good job with, continuity, and they're using the same format, so. We have
The directors
more
more.
the directors
So
probably
you notice-
shouldn't work.
I don't know. I'm just.
Going more towards, no, you're.
I know a
right.
couple times, like, and Word was like taking a while
Yeah.
to load, and
Yeah.
it was open.
Okay.
Anything else? Public comment? Mark?
Joel, I wanted to ask you about the emergency day you talked about. You had 7, now you have 6. Are snow days considered the same?
Snow days are
Same thing?
emergency days.
Same
Yes,
And there's no others besides the 7 in a given year?
correct.
Okay.
So the misnomer is because there was no snow, it doesn't count. Emergency days are emergency days. When we use up our emergency days, we either have to make up days, or we can use a remote day, which is now something that is built into our plan.
Had you added something more this year? An extra day or two?
We did, because the way the calendar was structured. If you look at the end of June, we go right up until like 2 days before June 29th. It's like 26th or 27th. So the way the calendar worked, we were able to get a couple of additional emergency days built into the calendar. And then if you've used up, and this is a special circumstance, so like some districts have used up all of their emergency days in prior years, and then there's a state of emergency that the governor issues, there's sometimes dispensation for that, and those days might not need to be made up, but that's very, very rare. So I know that happened in neighboring district here in Ulster County this past year. I think they used like 10 or 12 snow days, and then there was a state of emergency, flooding or something. And
So as a baseline, there's a legal number of days that students have to be in
Correct.
school.
Yep.
And then the teachers are contracted for a certain number of days.
Which
as
is
well.
180?
181, I think. Is it?
181, you're gonna,
And then there's conference days.
Right.
yeah, and then there's conference days.
Right.
So basically, I have to be at 181 for students over the course of the year, and 4 of those can be superintendent's conference days.
Okay, thanks.
So the snow days are extra days.
Those are
throughout.
additional days that are built into the calendar beyond that, so that when we take them away, it's not impacting our contact time.
Right.
And then there's also contact hours. There's a certain number of hours that each level
State's measuring.
that the state makes sure that we have in place.
They have their
So.
regulations.
We actually have a model calendar. It sits on my desktop, and as we have an emergency day, I go in, I put it in, and it deducts from and it recalculates, so I know if we're getting close. And we don't want to be at the spot where, well, we would never be at the spot where we didn't have enough days. We want to make sure that our state aid is maximized.
Some districts ride the edge. They only put in like 2 or 3 days, which is crazy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other public comments? Motion to adjourn? Any other?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nice job, Tom.
Got it.